So how did we get into this mess of a real estate market? Never before in history have buyers basically offered to give their firstborn child to home sellers in exchange for choosing their $50,000 over list price appraisal-waived contingency-less offer against 15 other offers on the same home. Well, the federal government tracks 4 metrics that contribute to determining the overall health of our economy. They like to see unemployment at 6%, real estate prices on a 4% trend line for year-over-year appreciation, GDP at 2%, and inflation at 2%. When one of these goes off track, the whole system gets thrown off kilter. So when unemployment hit an unprecedented 14.7% in April of 2020 due to COVID lockdowns, it started a domino effect of epic economic proportion, which has ultimately led to the worst run-up of inflation in 40 years. Our current 9.1% inflation rate, whose primary driver has been the housing market, is exactly what our federal government is trying to rein in by raising interest rates enough to slow down the economy, but without crashing it. Our seemingly price-insensitive economy is finally beginning to feel the pain of record gas, food, and commodity prices, as indicated by the decline in GDP in the first quarter, which is what's triggering much of the chatter around an impending recession. But a recession isn't necessarily a bad thing when you look at the alternative. The last time inflation was this high was between 1979 and 1981, when it went up over 14%. Take a look at this chart showing interest rates in response to the federal government trying to rein in inflation during that time. Yikes! The Fed ended up raising interest rates to 18%, and rates stayed over 10% for 10 years before coming back down into single digits, and then finally into the unprecedentedly low rates that we've become used to being the norm. If the Fed doesn't raise rates substantially enough this year to slow inflation, this is where we're headed. So there's the broad scale explanation of how the real estate market nationally became the wild, wild west, leading up to how the Fed started shaking things up at the beginning of this year. But what did the last 2 years look like here at the beach in a primarily second home market? Check out my next video for that quick 2-minute overview.